Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you loud, crowd. Shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up. Wake up, no time for sleeping on the issues. This is neutral voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Your voice matters, your thoughts count, your opinions important, so you gotta speak out. Don't let your chance to be heard pass by. Spare not, let me hear you now. Crowd, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, shout it out, real loud. Everybody wake up, wake up. No time for sleeping on the issues. This is Neutral Voices, we gon' deal with the issues. Wake up.
Welcome to Neutral Voices, the place where your voice matters. This is our Voice of the People Thursday segment.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're always happy to listen to our comments
Yes.
and all of that stuff and get into good conversation. And I know we do have some comments over there and questions.
Later.
But before we get into that, we have a video we want you to watch with us.
The time to get to know people for who they actually are. We define people by race and not their personality. And these practices are extremely harmful to countless groups of people. Because of the labels that exist in our society, people feel like they have to hide these parts of their lives. They feel like they have to suppress their cultures just to be taken seriously as a person. Because once they tell people their ethnicity, people will stop trying to get to know them right then and there. They saw someone like them on TV once, so automatically that means that they're the exact same as them, right? Too often than not, people feel like they have to suppress their traditions just to be treated without discrimination. They have to take away defining parts of their personality just to feel safe and welcome. This is my ethnic background. My mom was born in South Korea, and my dad is of European descent. So that makes me half white and half Asian. I have a foot in 2 different cultures on 2 different sides of the world. Now, people can usually tell I'm not fully white, so they'll ask me about my race. This is how the conversation usually goes. What are you? I'm half white and I'm half Asian. What type of Asian? I'm Korean. Wait, are you from North or South Korea? South Korea, because if I was born in North Korea, I wouldn't be here right now. Conversations like these can get annoying at times, so sometimes it's just easier for me to hide behind a shield and ignore the fact that I'm Asian. Sometimes it's easier for me to repress the Asian side of me just so people don't assume I live up to one of the common misconceptions. Because once I tell people my ethnicity, I'm automatically bombarded with countless amounts of other questions. They'll ask if I ate dog for dinner last night, or if I passed my driver's test. They'll ask if I can help them with their math homework, or if I have karate practice on the weekends. So you have to see, sometimes it's just easier for me to ignore the fact that I'm Asian. Sometimes it's the time to get to know people for who they actually are.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Wow.
This is Neutral Voices, and tonight we're talking about stereotypes.
Yes.
Jill, what did you think about that video?
So, something that stuck out to me that we've kind of talked about a little bit here on the panel is labels. So once somebody labels you as something,
Right.
it's very hard to come out of your shell and be who you are. And not only that, but I would believe that if somebody would stereotype me as a certain type of way, I am going to feel like I need to prove otherwise. If somebody would stereotype me as I don't know, what would you...
Dumb blonde or something.
Yes.
Let's say a dumb blonde, a valley girl. I am going to go out of my way to completely try to act like I am smart, or, if somebody stereotypes Clarence as a criminal, he is going to feel like he has to prove to the world that he is not. And when you're trying to prove that you're something, that you're not what somebody says you are, you take away from showing the world who you really are. So
That is
it's
true.
huge.
That's true. That's
It's
true.
absolutely
That's
huge. Instead of being you, you're just trying to be the opposite of what society says you are.
Right. What I liked about the young lady in the video, because we all are guilty of some kind of stereotypes. How many of us, let's be honest, how many of us have, stereotyped somebody because of their ethnic background, the way they look, or their race?
Absolutely.
Now, think about it. She
Guilty.
said she's part Asian. A lot of us have said, Asians are good at math. A lot of us, come on now, or Asians can't drive. Let's be honest. We all have been guilty of something like that.
Never.
And we think they're harmless, but they're actually detrimental to people
Right.
when
That's
you
right.
put them in these boxes and give them these categories
Right.
and make them think that just because they look like something, they have to be something.
Right. Or if
So-
I expect you to be techie because you're Asian and you don't know a darn thing about technology, there are stereotypes that you feel like you need to live up to or step into. And then there are stereotypes on the complete opposite end of the spectrum that you don't want to be anything like. So you spend your life trying to prove that you are not that.
Well,
That's right.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm a stereotype breaker, and people always get me with this. And
Stereotype breaker.
y'all get me with this all the time.
I don't know about this.
I do not eat chicken.
Oh, yeah.
No shape, no form, no fashion.
And
You know
then
what the
and when
first
you say
question-
that, then we say, "Wait, are you mixed?"
Or
No,
are you
no,
black?
just kidding.
You're not really black, are you? And that's a stereotype that
Yes.
all black
Yeah.
people eat chicken. I can't stand
That's
chicken.
true.
I can't stand chicken. So what I'm saying is, and then you get those questions behind it. Are you black? So and it's funny that that we stereotype, chicken. I don't eat watermelon.
When you
either.
told me that, I my first thought was, "What happened?" I thought maybe
Yeah,
something
right.
happened.
No, I
you
just
you had
never-
an allergic reaction or
never
something
liked the taste
bad
of
happened
chicken. No,
to
my
you.
mom would cook chicken every day if she could, but I've never had the taste for chicken.
Or oatmeal.
Or oatmeal. People that eat oatmeal, and this is stereotyping. I believe people that eat oatmeal can eat tires.
Oh my
I
God.
love oatmeal, but I've never had anything like D.F. Goodrich.
Okay, so listen. So okay, if I ask you to close your eyes, you don't have to, and I say these things, I want to know what comes to your mind.
I'm gonna close my
Me
eyes.
too.
Go ahead.
Okay, hockey. Don't say anything.
Mhm,
Ice fishing.
mhm,
Ivy League school.
mhm,
An immigrant.
mhm,
Bungee jumping.
mhm,
Hoodie. Suicide bomber.
mhm,
Or a successful person.
mhm.
Now, honestly, did you already have an opinion of a particular person or an image in your
Yes.
mind
For
when
many
you
of them.
heard
Mhm.
each
From
of
all
those
of them.
things?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Especially
And that-
bungee jumping. Especially bungee
Did
jumping.
you see yourself bungee
No,
jumping?
I saw 3 initials, but I'm not gonna say that on camera. I saw 3 initials.
I'm just saying, it's weird, but a lot
Right,
of times people
right.
think or tend to think that they do not stereotype.
Right.
And so that was a good example of that most of the time we do,
Right.
if we're going to be honest about it.
Because legitimately, and I think I'm gonna say, well, no, immigrant, because you put it in different, and I'm gonna tell you the difference and changes. We think immigrant are just Hispanic or Mexican people or people
Mhm.
from South America or some kind. Those are immigrants, right?
Mhm.
But like we look at these Burmese and other, Sudanese and these other people that come here,
Mhm.
they're refugees.
Mhm.
The only thing is the term you put on them. They're all immigrants. It's just how you categorize
Right.
them.
Right.
And that's the stereotype. Somebody, that is not welcome, you put a negative connotation on it. And
Mhm.
that's the immigrant.
Right.
Somebody that, you're welcoming or you feel comfortable, you put the good connotation. Oh, they're just refugees.
Mhm.
But if you break it down, what are they? They immigrated from another country. So what does that make them? Immigrants. But we don't call them that. And that's the true statement. So, like I say, stereotypes they're broad and they're so common we don't even think about it. We walk in stereotypes every day and we don't even think about it.
And let's give a definition real quick for stereotype: a fixed image or an idea of a particular type of person,
Right.
culture, or thing. Why can't we just let people be who they are and judge them based on their personality and not stereotype them based on their behavior?
Because we can't get past those labels that have been put on people or have been put in, the pictures in our heads that have been placed there by our parents or the media.
That's what it is.
Very rarely is our opinion of someone based on our actual experience with
Exactly.
that person.
And
Very
you said
rarely.
it, parents. So traditionally,
Right,
we've been almost taught,
right.
even if not on purpose,
Yeah.
Right.
but based on our environment, our atmosphere, we have learned to think certain things about people.
And before we go any further, I'm going to go on a comment because it's something you hit on last night, Doc V. So we're going to talk about this, right? This viewer asks, so can a name affect a person's future? Will John Smith get a job more than Lakeisha Jackson? You talked about that yesterday. Sometimes
Talked about all those S and Q's and
but
Z's.
sometimes think about it. Yes,
those names.
Even in school, you talked about this. Even in school, people stereotype, and they just don't. They don't feel that those names are going to be marketable. People are going to be able to come in and address those names. So why have those people, but Doc V, you'll be amazed how many white people are naming their children.
Nowadays, they are.
Yes, but when we hear those names, you stereotype them. We're automatically thinking. I met what was that? She was a white girl. Latasha. I met a white Latasha. Latasha.
They just like it. And, but wait, guess what's happening? It's the integration of different cultures.
Right.
And so once they, have children together.
Well, no, she was white.
But I'm just telling you,
white.
I'm just telling you, this is true because I see this now, especially, working at the school system. Sometimes when the parent comes in and I see those Q's and S's in those names and Z's, the mom could be white and dad is black,
Right.
or vice versa.
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying, so I see it a lot
You're
with,
right.
yes,
Right.
interracial relationships
Right.
and marriages.
Something that I would, that I would want to ask, and that I've always wanted to ask a let's say a white person who is a racist. I would want to ask you, when did you ever have an encounter with a black woman, with a black man? Because their answer would probably be
Never.
never. Somebody who is racist against Asians,
Mhm.
same answer.
Same
Right.
answer.
Same
Because they learn
answer.
us through watching
Absolutely.
TV,
Absolutely.
the media, hearing about the crime that was just committed or somebody was
Right.
robbed, and then they show you the picture of this guy and he's black. So then they start thinking that this is going to happen, especially you say Detroit and
Mhm.
certain areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
think
I
about how
think it's
ignorant that sounds.
absolutely,
Yes.
but that's what they get from
Yeah.
movies. And they, the truth is they do watch a lot of movies so that they can learn us.
Right.
That's the only way, because they're too afraid to sit down and have a good conversation.
An actual conversation, not just
They
good,
are
but an actual-
intimidated.
yeah.
And unfortunately, but it's true, sometimes they may be afraid of us.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well-
Is it because we may be neck rolling?
Well, and that's a stereotype, right?
We be neck rolling and we be clapping our hands.
Get loud.
We
yeah.
do. We
Yeah.
be clapping our hands. We
Yeah.
noisy communicate, but we have fun. So I'm just saying, we think about it. Two black men, they approach each other, they slapping and dapping and they loving and hugging, and so people watching this.
Right.
It's a lot going on just in the greeting.
Well,
And so
when you talk about the neck rolling and all of that, we're going to talk about two type of women. Let's talk about what is the new one. We talking about the Karen. We think Karen is that white woman that's going to get the manager, going to cause all this fuss and everything. 9 times out of 10, it might be that person, but we put these names and these labels. The angry black woman is one that is beat to death.
yes,
Black women are really viewed as super subservient, that they really are not supposed to be outspoken, but when they are,
hmm
it's
a negative.
yeah,
It's
you're
a
an angry
negative,
black woman.
and it's too bad because some black people.
Do the same thing.
Well, I'm just saying to each other. Some
Yeah.
black people look at you because you're a black woman and think that they're supposed to be able to speak to you any kind of way
Yes.
or treat you any kind of way. And if you stand up for yourself, then you're an aggressive or angry black
Right,
woman.
right.
You bring up a great point.
I'm not an angry black woman, but you're not going to talk to me any kind of way.
Right,
I'm a
right.
proud black woman.
Right, right.
I was on scrolling through Facebook the other day, and somebody made a post, and it was a black man, and he said, "Do you know why I date only white women?" ? So everybody started commenting, and the number of black men who said, because black women are too loud and bossy, like your own culture, and you are, the comments were, I was almost shocked.
Absolutely. But watch this. So you mentioned that. Now watch the flip side of that. So that's the negative about black women.
Right.
Now watch the negative narrative about white women. So they say the reason, and this comes from some of those same black men that date white women.
Mhm.
The reason that they do is because you can tell a white woman anything and she'll believe you.
Yeah.
Or you can tell her where to be and she's going to be
Right.
there.
Yes, yes.
You can tell her to make sure my slippers are at the door and they're going to be there. But
Right.
the truth is not every white woman is like that, because I have a
Right,
white auntie and it ain't going down that way. And I'm just saying. And I know some black women that's putting the slippers at the door.
Right.
Right,
So the
right.
truth is we have to stop trying
Yeah.
to stereotype and put people in boxes.
Yeah, women are
And
women.
not,
Women
I'm
are
just
women.
saying we have to stop doing that because it's not accurate. You
Well,
need to, judge people based on their personality and how they treat
Yeah,
you.
and y'all know I don't have any good sense, so I'm gonna try.
I will.
And
I
I'm
can't
not
wait
putting
to hear
anybody's
this.
slippers by the
Yeah,
door. If
yeah,
I'm
no.
putting your slipper by the door, I'm throwing them out on the
Yeah,
porch.
but Jill,
See,
I don't
there
know
it
any
is.
of those men that answered that in that post, but I can stereotype what kind of white woman they date.
Stop
one-
it.
You
Don't do
know,
it.
right?
Don't say it because I already know what you're getting ready to say. We do not say those things
No,
on neutral
I'm being
voices.
funny.
We
I'm
love.
being- but
I
you
know.
in my mind, and that's just the
We love
simple-
all people.
But think about it. That's an example of stereotyping. I don't know these men, but in my mind, because you think these things and you see these things or you believe these things, you start to say these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? And for the record, I don't have a problem with that either way, whether it's a black woman dating a
Mhm.
white man or black man, etc. It doesn't matter. But what matters is if a person just say, I don't date this class of woman, because now you're putting them all in the same
Mhm.
box. So it
Mhm.
doesn't matter whether they're saying, I don't date a woman with short hair or a woman with, et
Right.
cetera, et cetera. They can do that. That doesn't bother me.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, I'm saying it's to each his own, But when we begin to stereotype, that's what we are talking about tonight,
You know,
and we got to figure out how can we and will we ever?
well, we have we.
Okay,
And
you
I'm glad
got
you
a,
did.
you
I
got
got a
another
comment. I got
question?
a question right here.
While you're getting that, I just want to remind everybody this is Neutral Voices, the voice of the people. Please click like and share and subscribe to our YouTube page.
This is a two-part question. It says that one of the biggest stereotypes in our community, so I'm assuming that they're black, is the church. That pastors are all crooked
Mm.
or money hungry, or the church is not relevant or doing anything in the community.
Pastors are money hungry, and the churches
Not doing
the
anything.
churches
Irrelevant
are
in the community.
irrelevant
Yes.
in the community. Well, I've heard that a lot,
Mhm.
and I don't agree with it. I do know why people say that, and
Mhm.
I know there are churches. I don't want to say the denomination, but that take up an offering after every A or B
Mhm.
selection and
Mhm.
things like that. They
Yeah.
take up, quite a few offerings. So I can see why some people think that.
Well, and I can see that, but again, is it a stereotype? Have you been outside of your
Right.
community to other, services
Other
that you know,
churches
Mhm.
just
that don't do that.
that do or do not do it? You don't
Mhm.
know how it's operating. Again, until you ventured out and you saw and I mean, the only way we're going to get an understanding of everybody and we can get rid of these stereotypes if we involve ourselves with everyone. Now,
Mhm.
if we do it like a 99% study and we realize it, then that's not a stereotype. That's a fact.
Right.
But we've done our due diligence and our homework and we
Right.
figured it out. But too many times we're not going to get out there and do our due diligence.
Right.
I'm just going to take your word for it that Jill is a dumb blonde and I'm going to go and I'm going to treat her that way. I'm going to be honest and I'm going to treat her that
You're
way.
not.
But I'm just
I
saying,
know.
so I'm going to treat her that way and I'm going to speak to her that way. And I'm not even going to try to figure out what she's really about because I stay in that vein and I'm not going to go out my own comfort zone to try to figure out. And that's where you were talking about those races. We're not going to try to do our due diligence to figure out, is this true or is this not?
Right.
But isn't
Because
it
it's-
funny? Because when you said a dumb blonde, I'm sorry, but I'm thinking about Chrissy, Jack Tripper,
Oh, from
the Three's Company, old movie. You guys wouldn't know it. You're
Yeah.
too young.
There's
I'm
some
just
that
saying.
know. There's
Okay.
some that know
Some
Three's
may
Company.
remember that. That was really old. But isn't it interesting that the media or, Hollywood actually put that on
Right.
the major screen for
Right.
you to see that
Right.
and for you to connect to that whole
Right.
storyline of a dumb blonde?
I was just watching something. It's funny you say that. I was just watching something about the Jeffersons
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and Archie Bunker. What was the name of that show?
All in the Family.
All
Yeah.
in the Family. Those were the same show. They came from the same show.
Okay.
The Jeffersons ended up being a spinoff of Archie Bunker.
Yes.
Or All in the Family.
Mm-hmm.
But those were two men from two different races, from two different angles that
Yes.
spouted the stereotypes.
That's right.
But people viewed them differently. Archie Bunker was viewed as this harsh racist, this,
Mhm.
intolerable man. But when George Jefferson said the same thing, he was viewed as a man standing up, to the oppression and, the change and making these changes.
Mm-hmm.
But they were saying the same stereotypical thing. So a lot of times it's how they put that spin on it,
That's
how they
right.
make it look.
Right. And
That's
you
right.
say due diligence. And, I was going to go there with the church because it is always easier to just believe the stereotypes
Mhm.
because then you don't have to think. There are so many people who will say when you ask them why, do you go to church? Why or why not? Well, because of this and that and that. A lot of those people have never been in a church.
Yeah.
So it's easier for them
That's
to
right.
go off of what Aunt Martha says than to actually check out the church and
Mhm.
see if it's for them. So, we don't do our due diligence in
Right.
a
That's
lot of situations. We don't take that extra step and it's so necessary or like you said, there will be no unity ever.
That's right. So
Because there will be
it's
no
easier.
reason to be.
Right. It's easier to just generalize
Yeah.
everything. And what we're doing actually, and what I see is we're building a wall.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
every time we stereotype somebody else, another culture, another person, we begin to build brick by brick
Right.
this wall that separates us from other people and other cultures. So therefore, we will never be able to unify if that wall is there
Right.
and
Right.
everybody's building a wall.
Right. In everything that there's a stereotype, there has to be some, and I'm going to say prejudice. And I'm not saying because it's exactly what it is. We prejudge something. So that's where we get prejudice from. We're prejudging it. And as Jill said about the church, and I understand in our community, yes, we need leaders. A lot of people talk about the church is not being effective as it is. Yeah, I can agree with that. But you also, again, you have to, do your whole background and just not label them, because as many as you saying is not doing, there's many that are doing, but we just group them together, categorize them, and don't move past that.
Right.
That's like we were talking just recently. We just spoke about it a minute ago, dating and things like that. I always say, and y'all know I don't have good sense, so y'all got to bear with me. When women say or men say, every woman is such a way and every man is such a way. All men are dogs. All women are bossy and things like that. I'm going to say, unless you dated every woman, you don't know this. It might be the store you shopping at.
That's right.
If you keep getting that same product from the same store, you might need to shop at a different store.
Yeah.
You know what Walmart got. You know what Target got. So if you keep going to Target trying to get Walmart product, you're not going to get it. So that's what I'm saying. You got to come out of that mindset. And that's what stereotypes is. It's just a mindset. It's visual. It's taught. It's all that. It's just a mindset. We believe if it walk like a duck, we don't need to see it quack. It's a duck. That's it.
Right. I agree with that.
And just, Clarence, to go back to your statement about all men are dogs, just to be fair, there are a lot of different kinds of dogs. There are Chihuahuas,
Really,
pit
Jill?
bulls.
Really,
there are
Jill?
so
Really,
many
Jill?
different kinds
Really,
of
Jill?
breeds.
Really, Jill?
I just wanted to throw that out there. Because it is the voice of the people. And
Well, listen, yeah, before you get into too deep with the dogs and the animals.
dog breeds.
So, you remind me, speaking of the animals, of politics. And so we have our thoughts about attorneys, and we say all attorneys are a certain way, etc.
Yes.
So when it comes to politics, Clarence, how do you feel like stereotyping plays a role with politics?
I was just watching something earlier before I came on. It's so interesting you asked that. Politics, they think, I'm going to say the political structure, because I don't know who encompasses they, but the political structure, how it's set up. That's one of the things when they talk about African Americans or blacks voting. They say we vote on emotions or on sight. So if there's a black person running, we're automatically going to we see a black person, so we're going to vote
We
for
know
a
who
black.
we're going to vote for.
Yeah, we know. So they say we don't have an analytical thought when it comes to voting, especially if there's a black person in the election. But that's a problem when we talked about in a couple of shows a while back about redlining and gender gerrymandering, where they create these lines in these zones because they figure, all right, Doc V running for something, and we all know Doc V on the south side of town. Jill running for the same office. We don't know Jill.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to try to balance the scales or whatever we want to say. So we're going to draw a couple of lines here or there to keep me from voting for you, Doc V. They're going to move me in a whole nother district that I have to vote for somebody else.
That's
and
right.
that leaves, people that they know. I mean, those are stereotypes because they think that, and in this video, they said that white people are more analytical and they believe that their votes have more purpose in all of this, where we just vote on emotion and on sight.
Right. They also didn't think that white people would vote for Obama,
That's right.
and here he was our president. I voted for Obama. I know a lot of my friends and associates also voted for Obama.
Did you vote because he was just black?
No, I voted.
That was a question, and they mentioned
Oh,
that.
I know.
Right.
And
No,
people will.
Seriously.
Because he's black or because she's cute
Right.
and different things like that. So speaking
Right.
of, you just remind me of Judge
Judge
Lori
Lori Morgan, yes.
Yes. Congratulations,
congratulations.
due to Judge Lori K. Morgan. So we are so excited about that. But some people probably voted because she's black. And so they're expecting for her to turn things a little bit more favorable toward black.
Right.
But knowing her personally,
Oh, I know her.
she is a very fair person.
Yes,
And she's
yes.
not going to do that. So she was definitely the best one for the job.
And since you're there, and I'm gonna stand up for Judge Morgan. I used to work for a contracted agency, and I used to have to take clients to court. And stereotypical, and this is funny that you mentioned this. There was this young white lady. She had asked for what is it? A pro bono, no, a pro bono lawyer. She said she couldn't afford it, and she was giving Judge Morgan all kind of lip. She was Magistrate Morgan at the time.
Exactly.
So Magistrate Morgan read off this and all of this, and the girl was, well, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, and she was getting smart. This might have been stereotyping, but Magistrate Morgan at the time looked at her purse, and she said, is that a such and such purse?
Mm.
And she said, yeah. She said, is it real? What do you mean, is it real? Do I look like I would carry anything fake? She said, well, that's good. You can afford your own attorney.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, she'll keep it real.
Yeah,
I can
real.
tell you, I can tell you that.
But again, I'm like I said, stereotypical. I didn't know what kind of purse it is. I don't even know the name of it. I just thought it was a purse. But she called the purse out, and it could have been, a stereotype. But she asked her, is it real? And the girl, I guess, got offended. Well, the young lady got offended. What do you mean? Do I look like? And that's what we first, in stereotypes. Isn't that the first thing we respond to? Do I look like?
Now, so just saying that, are there any good times to stereotype? I mean, when you start thinking about that, because I mean, one comes to mind when we're looking for terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but watch this. Here's the interesting thing. When we hear the word terrorist, what comes to mind automatically? We already stereotyping.
Middle Eastern.
But who was shooting up the schools?
Right.
Yeah.
They weren't terrorists.
They weren't terrorists.
Right, because look at old boy who, traveled all that way and walked in with the gun.
Kyle Rittenhouse, the one that can't find?
Yeah, if you saw his picture, you would not have called him a terrorist, but he is one. So that is not, in my head, he's a terrorist.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
And I would say the same thing about the Columbine.
Yes.
But you hear terrorists and you automatically
terrorists, one of the biggest and most deadliest before 9/11 terrorist act on American soil was committed by an American white man. 3 of them. Oklahoma City. Y'all remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Timothy McVeigh.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
McVeigh.
He was white, and they were looking for anybody at first until they realized it. I mean, we think of terrorists, we automatically think of Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Like in your list, when you think of hoodie, automatically we think of young black teenagers.
Right.
But while we in that vein, I got a question. It's about the police. Do police stereotype? Do they truly treat people differently? If so, why?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean,
100%.
We can definitely we can visit that with George Floyd. I can visit that with myself. So let me just be honest. Sometimes when the police ride up next to you, you just feel some type of way. And then when they position themselves so you can go past, and you thinking, now you could have just kept going. You could have been right next to me. But when they slow all the way down so they can just shift over and get right behind you, you already feel like, oh boy, here we go.
Right.
And then when they stay on you so tight and they just following you everywhere, and you make those 4 corners, 4 turns to the left, and that's when they're really following you. It just makes you think like, okay, why? You don't have anything else to do.
And you're not doing anything wrong, but all of a sudden you feel like the whole drug cartel.
Yes.
I
do feel like that.
I found a little piece of information that actually relates to that. And it said that a study from Stanford analyzed 95 million traffic stops. From 2011 to 2018, they found that African Americans are pulled over more frequently than whites by day, but are less likely to be stopped at night because the veil of darkness masks their race, which is very interesting.
Right.
And, just to tell a really quick story, I got pulled over. I've gotten pulled over a lot, actually.
What kind of driver
since
are you?
I've been, since I got my driver's license, but I've never had a speeding ticket.
Not just white women, but black women, white women, period, can't drive. No, that's one.
I've driven all the way to Vegas, Clarence.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Did you get pulled over?
To continue, I didn't, and my father was with me. So to continue, I was driving down the road, and I knew that I had my my taillights were out. But, I'm gone 75 hours a day. So when am I supposed to get it? So I was like, whatever, I'll just, wing it until the weekend. Sure enough, I was driving to go get my daughter one day and I saw an officer behind me. So I was trying to be cool. So I was like, there's an apartment complex right here. I'm just going to skirt up in here, So I went.
Skirt.
He came behind me and I was like, uh-oh. So I'm still, that dumb blonde Clarence. I have a strategy. So I pull into a parking space thinking he's going to roll on by. No, he didn't. He pulled right behind me. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get up out of my car, pretend like I'm getting a file out of my trunk because that's where I keep my files for real. Sure enough, I pop the trunk, get out, lift it up, and I hear, ma'am, now he didn't get out of the car. He doesn't know if I am the Kyle Rittenhouse's great aunt or anybody at this point. So I could have been smuggling cocaine. So I turned around and I said, hi, can I help you?
Did you flick your hair?
He said, you know what? I really have to tell you, both of your taillights are out. And I was like, oh,
Really?
seriously? He's like, yeah, get this. He goes, if you don't mind, I'm going to hop in your driver's seat. I want you to stand behind me. And I want you to see. So he got in my car.
Wow.
I'm standing back there, never ran my plate,
Did
never
you
took
pull
my
out that white
license.
privilege card?
My purse was in the car. So I said, oh, yeah, thank you. And he said, yeah, I just wanted to let you know. So he never. So imagine if I would have had a black boyfriend with me in the car.
Yeah.
That situation would have went
Totally
completely
different.
different.
Right,
But then he let me go about my day with no taillights.
With no
With-
citation,
with
no
no
ticket.
No
Taillight, no
citation, no
nothing.
plate. He didn't run my plate, my driver's license.
He was the neighborly police
Oh,
officer.
yes, just doing me a favor and got in my car.
The police officer that we want to encounter.
Got in my car.
Yeah.
Right, but the first question when they pull up to me, you got any guns or drugs in this car?
Or you got a
Right.
warrant.
You got a warrant?
You got a warrant.
Yes. Yes. And
Where you going?
So
It depends
doesn't
on where I
matter.
am.
Yeah.
Where you going?
I could have had a whole muzzle loader on my front seat and he never would have even saw it.
Muzzle loader. Oh my God.
That's
Oh.
what, and I know, we don't have time because we got to get out of
We
here.
do.
But
And one more-
that
one-
whole white privilege,
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it's real.
Yeah. Well, it is. It will. And that's not a stereotype if you confess to it. But one more question. One more question. Do we stereotype or are we stereotyped within our neighborhoods and communities? And do we also stereotype our own neighborhoods and communities?
Yeah.
We sure do.
Yeah.
Since way back with the Willie Lynch
Yeah.
letter, true
Yeah.
or false, is real. The
Right.
things that's in it about the way they decide who's going out in the field
Mm-hmm.
with the paper sack test.
Right.
If you're darker than that paper sack, hit the field, buddy.
And that's sad. That's sad that we still think that.
So I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
You light skinned.
Yeah.
You in the house.
Yeah.
I'm out here in these elements dealing with these
Yeah.
bugs and
Yeah, you're gonna be mad. You're
the-
gonna be
right.
mad.
The heat, greasy, and
Because I'm being there cooling.
The lawnmower pants.
Man,
The lawnmower pants.
but no, seriously, think about it. Even us. I don't know exactly where everybody lives, but in my neighborhood, I live in a mixed neighborhood. But I can feel comfortable if there's kids walking down my street that but there's some neighborhoods that people watch kids walk down the street like what they up to.
Peeking.
You
Yep.
know,
Peeking.
That's right.
Already judging them. They ain't up to no good. So I mean, we sadly we do that.
and
I
we
mean,
will judge each other.
we judge each other,
Yep.
and we
Look at those kids. They are up to no good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They haven't done nothing yet, but they're about to.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Ray Ray ain't never gonna be nothing. He gonna be like his daddy.
looking for somebody's house to break in.
Right.
We gotta stop
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
True.
we really do. I mean, but how do we stop it? How do we make those changes?
And it's something that I had a tenant years ago who called me and she said, there's a man standing outside of my window by my air conditioning unit. And I said, okay, what did he do? She said, well, nothing yet. He was black. She
Nothing
called
yet?
me
Nothing yet.
because he
Karen.
was standing outside.
I was scared.
How dare he stand outside by your air
And watch birds,
that's
right.
very real. That is so real.
Yeah.
Mhm. It is real. Listen, this is Neutral Voices, and we have amazing things
Yes.
to talk
Yeah, we
about.
could be
And
here all
tonight
day.
we're talking about stereotyping,
Yeah.
and we could actually continue, but
We could.
Yeah, we
we
could.
got to get out of
We gotta
here.
get outta here.
Yeah, but before we go, I just want to say this to the good people watching. First of all, don't forget to click like and share and
Mhm.
subscribe to our YouTube page. But one of the things I want you to remember before you go, and this, you guys might want to write this down and keep this up here. Do we have a comment we need to address before we get
Yeah.
out of here?
Yeah, we got one.
Oh, well, we don't want to
Jill.
miss that.
We don't wanna miss
Jill, you
this
want to
one.
read that
Hi,
comment before-
Joshonda.
Hey, Joshonda.
Hello, my queen.
So she says, I dislike that some people feel that I can't possibly be the person they were speaking to on
Oh,
the
my
phone
God.
when they actually see me, as though a
Oh.
black woman is incapable of being well spoken.
Oh. Can I
Yes.
really
I know
elaborate on
you
that
wanna
real,
talk
real
about
quick?
that.
We knew you were gonna.
Oh man.
Yes.
Man.
Thank you
man.
for that.
Thank you for that. But I'm gonna make this as brief as I can. But I work for an agency, like I said, and I had to set up appointments for people. And I called this young lady and I introduced myself and I told her I had to come set up an appointment with her. And she said, okay. But when I got there, she said, you're not the man that called me on the phone. I was like, yes, I'm the man that called you on the phone. She said, no. I was like, yes, I am. And she said, no, you're black. I was like, yeah, I'm still the person that called you on the phone. She said, well, you didn't sound black on the phone. So I'm yet to figure out what exactly black sounds like. But
or what white?
what white sounds like. But
Uh-huh.
later on, as I dealt with her, she told me one thing. I never, in social work, you should know, you never tell people your personal stuff. But she made this comment. She said, you must only date white women.
Wow.
I was like, no, why would you say that?
The plot thickens.
And she said, because the way you talk and the way you act, I don't see no black woman ever wanting you.
You said baby since the 5th grade.
Wow. Since
the
Same
fifth
woman.
grade.
Ooh,
Same
that's-
woman since the 5th grade.
That's
but I
low
couldn't tell her
down
that.
and
But
dirty
yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just by I mean,
She
so-
said she don't see a black woman want you.
she said because the way I talk,
Like, okay, so either way, if you were talking proper and that's what she meant, what type of black men do she think
Right.
I
that
don't know.
black women want
I
to
don't
date?
know.
She need to call Michelle Obama.
To think that is bad
and
enough, but
ask
to speak it,
that
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
That's
Obviously,
terrible.
well, I don't
Yeah.
know where she came from.
Yeah,
so.
so that's why we say we
And you are
stereotyping.
married to a black woman, am I right?
Well, only on paper.
Oh. Ooh, you ought to quit. You know, if I was the queen, I would have to set your bags
Clarence won't
by
be here
your
tomorrow.
house
He'll
shoes
be
at the front door.
He'll be
And
on
I would
Dr.
have
Phil.
them house shoes facing facing outward.
Those house shoes be on
Listen,
fire.
This is Neutral Voices. We are getting ready to get out of
You had
here.
a comment before
Thank
you
you.
leave, Doc V.
Do we
Before
have
that
another?
com-
No,
before
I'm
that-
getting ready to get to mine. I
Okay.
was going to say, so thank you so much for that beautiful comment and any of the questions that our viewers
Yes.
sent in our Envy family. Thank you
Yes,
so
we
much.
appreciate you all.
And thank you guys for sharing a good conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
And as I was saying before that beautiful comment, here's one for the road. The worst distance between two people. Y'all get this?
Mhm.
The worst difference between two people could be misunderstanding.
Yes, I
Right.
agree.
So remember, do not judge a book by its cover.
Amen.
This is Neutral Voices. Thanks for hanging with us. We will see you hopefully tomorrow for our Friday Randemonium
Yes.
with our,
With our
Neutral Voices, Envy Youth in the house.
MVU.
Will they be in the house tomorrow
They'll be in the
night?
house, yes. Yes.
Okay, join us.
Join
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
See you next time.